Welcome to Tactical Reviews, and today we're going to take a look at the new Extrema Ratio DMP, and this example is in the black finish. There's a few different options available, and as I go through we're going to take a very detailed look at the specifications. But first of all, this is a pretty much out of the box with some observations that I've already made having a little look round it regarding the sheath. So let's just run through those first. So what we actually have on the back here is a leg strap which has been fitted with an elastic band, and it's a very good quality strap, as we'd expect with Extrema Ratio, with an elasticated section here so that you fit it to your leg but you don't cut the blood off. And you see that at the base of the sheath is actually the Extrema Ratio badge on a Velcro flap that keeps it in position. So actually, as this attaches to the sheath, there's a continuation of the hanger which comes through, and there's a loop that the leg strap passes through. So we'll see a little bit more about that in a minute, but I'm just going to take the leg strap off, which is a little bit more involved than many of the other Extrema Ratio leg straps. So we're also going to need the old ruler trick to deal with some of the Velcro. So in order to get that free, also let's just say we've got on the Velcro adjuster to get it the right size for your leg, there's also an elasticated keeper just to hold the end of that flap down. So first of all we have to move that out of the way, undo the adjuster, but because we're going to have to feed this through and the hook material becomes a real drag, literally, we have to close that back off. So that's the first step of removal. Now, because this is very well fitted, it's not actually possible to pull the plastic loop here through, which would be the short and easy option, but they're just, from the way that this hanger fits through, there's just no give to pull out further to get this through. So we're actually going to have to take the strap all the way through. So again, with the hook material being a real drag to get through, what I'm actually going to do is put this flat down but underneath that strap. So what we do, so you have to excuse some of the fiddling to get this in. So with the strap laid flat there, I can now pull that ruler out, and that gets us started the first part of the way through. There's quite a bit of squeezing and working through, but we get to the elastic section. Don't need that ruler anymore. And we can start squeezing on the sewn joints just to make those a bit easier to fit through. Let's take that elastic keeper off the far end. It's also just to mention that where I'm going to be testing this, I don't want to be using the leg strap, which is why I'm taking this off. Otherwise, of course, it's actually a very useful thing to keep it nice and steady. there we are. So that's the strap all the way through. So for storage, I'm just going to pop the keeper and thread it back as it should be. So if I decide to refit that, it's all neat and ready to go. So that's the leg strap separate now from the sheath. So put that aside. Now this is the point where, so there was nothing else in the box, and what we actually find now is that this hanger, the belt loop, if I start to lift it upwards, it's starting to pull this loop which was going round the leg strap, and it's going to make its way through and off completely. So as a quick fix, the easiest thing that I came across was just to get a carabiner. It'd be handier if it was a little bit smaller, but this is a lightweight plastic one, and putting that through just means that as the hanger starts to pull, it's not going to go anywhere. So although the retaining strap is not where it would be with the leg strap, which is there, it only moves a little bit, a couple of centimeters. So in terms of the practical use here, that's the way I'm going to have this set up. If I can find a smaller, more streamlined clip to use just to keep the hanger in place, I will. So just to point out that that's something I had, it's nothing to do with what Extrema Ratio provide. But now onto the knife and sheath in the way that I'll be carrying and using it. And this is a really nice design with a mechanical lock for retaining the knife. So with the Extrema Ratio straps, again, they're always very well thought out and practical. So should I wish to just use the hanger and not have this retaining strap, I could, because that again is attached with Velcro here, so I can just remove that completely. Let's just do that, because the knife is held very firmly in the sheath using this little thumb lever lock. I think the first knife I saw this on was the Mamba, and in this instance there's been a slight change. The original one I've seen, the lever was metal. It's actually a plastic lever. It has two pins, one is the pivot pin and one is a retention pin, just stops the lever, and the spring is provided by a section of the sheath which is lifted away. Let's do it this way. Now one small observation here, I'm not sure in terms of making this ambidextrous, because the front and back are different, you can't just flip the sheath over and refit the hanger. But there are holes provided on the opposite side which suggests to me, should you wish to, you could drive the pins through, because there's also a spring on the opposite side, refit the lever on that other side and just flip the knife over and allow it to be set up better for a left-handed user. I haven't seen anything official to say that, but it looks pretty much like that. Obviously you wouldn't be doing that over and over. Driving those pins through would start to wear out the plastic and it wouldn't be so tight. But if you're left-handed, I think you would make that effort and give it a go. So keeping the lever pressed. I'll also, with this type of retention system, there were some other things I found on other models, which I'll just mention as we take the knife out. So, pushing the lever and starting to withdraw the knife. Now actually what's happening here is the spring system is pushing the blade over, and so the cutting edge is dragging on the inside of the sheath. If I let go of the lever, it's starting to spring back. So when I withdraw a knife with this type of sheath, I keep pressure, keep the spine pushed towards the lever as I draw it out, and that prevents dragging your cutting edge all the way on the inside of the sheath. And again on insertion, pushing it towards the lever. You see that as I push it, the lever's moving. Slide it in and allow the lever to click shut. So very, very firm. And the design of the lever is the harder you pull it, the more it's locked into place. So, with that quick run round, well, let's take a look over the knife as well. We're going to be seeing this in great detail as I go through the detailed specifications. But what we have is a single finger guard, what seems like enormous jimping. The first of that is actually used by the locking system. So great grip for the thumb, great safety, with grip sections actually underneath the finger guard, so as you push into it you'll stay nice and firm. A good sort of general purpose blade shape, and one of the less frequent grind types for Extrema Ratio, we have a full flat grind. So there might be a fuller each side, but actually there's a full flat grind going across that, giving a very, very practical slicing blade. Extrema Ratio's distinctive handle design with good first two finger grip, and a really good general purpose size. Completely flat spine. Should be perfectly square enough corners to strike a file steel. Slight swedge near the tip. And that's the first look round the Extrema Ratio DMP, and onto the technical. And onto the full technical measurements for the Extrema Ratio DMP. So the usually pretty crowded table here with all the different measurements. So first off is the weight of all the components of the sheath. So we've got the leg strap as well. So that comes in at 417.85 grams. So we're going to measure the overall length, including the sheath, and with the leg strap it would go all the way there. So that is 33 centimeters. Maximum width of the sheath is at this point, so 54.2 millimeters. And obviously where we have the retaining strap is the thickest point. That's 45.3 millimeters. But if we take this part of the sheath if I took off that strap, we're talking 25.9 millimeters. So weight of just the knife, 277.9 grams. Overall length of the knife on its own is 280 millimeters. Blade length back to the front of the handle, it's 152 millimeters. Thickest part of the handle 22.2 millimeters, and the deepest part of the handle 32.7 millimeters. Let's pop this out of the way. We're going to see where the balance point is. So you can see this is just at the front of the first finger section. And that gives us 160 millimeters from the tip. So blade thickness, maximum I'm going to take just behind, we're into the stock, and that is 6.3 millimeters. We can see that full flat grind. We take a straight edge, no light coming through, so full flat grind. So the grind length is the full depth of the blade, which is 32.9. So let's see what the angle of that full flat grind is. So there we have 9 degrees and 10 seconds for the primary bevel angle. So now we're going to look at the angles of the factory edge. So this isn't something you'll be able to see, the laser light is not bright enough. So we have 26 degrees for the right hand factory edge bevel, and 27 degrees for the left hand factory edge bevel. Just check what the point angle is. So the point angle is 71 degrees. Just be careful here. So this one I want to use the more accurate caliper. So thickness behind the edge, which is 0.8 millimeters. Yeah, 0.8 millimeters. Rake, this is a perfectly straight knife, so 0 degrees rake. And now we see how the factory edge matches up. So, centre measurement first. $402 grams. Heel of the blade now, with the guard. Got to see whether I can keep clearance. $272 grams, and I did manage to stay clear. And now the tip. It's 519 grams. So I'm probably going to need to give it a little bit of work before I start using it. But that is our technical run through for the Extrema Ratio DMP in black. Remember, get informed, be prepared, stay sharp.